Hello, Pasadena ISD students. Today we're going to be working with identifying tone and explaining the author's purpose for creating that tone within informational text. The directions essentially tell you to read the article, which is important before you try to do the other part so that you understand actually what's happening in the article. I'm going to complete a graphic organizer and then a quick write so that you can see how you will practice identifying tone and explaining the author's purpose. Let's take a look at the graphic organizer. As you can see, I completed 2 of the circles for the graphic organizer so that you were able to see some of the types of words you could use to help identify the actual tone, which will go in the center here. So from paragraph 1, I identified a description, try to play up. So this is a description of an action. So using descriptions can be one way to identify the tone. For the second piece of evidence that I pulled from paragraph 1 is an actual action. So waded into controversy. So how this person enters into trouble. It's a description, but it also uses actual verb. So we might use a description of a verb or an action to help us to identify tone. I'm going to go back because I've actually read the article, and I'm going to pull 2 additional pieces of evidence so that we can use what we have to identify the tone. Okay, I pulled additional words from paragraph 4 to help me to identify the tone. I want to remind you that the tone relates to the author's attitude and that those intentional uses of words help us by identifying the connotation connected to those words or the emotions connected to those words. So when I say somebody tried to play up, that means that there's a failure there, that the person tried and didn't succeed. So there's a little bit of a negative connotation with the phrase that's used in paragraph 1. And then waded into controversy. Waded is moving into like water, kind of slowly, making your way. So that's a more neutral connotation. But the word controversy is definitely negative. So this phrase also has a negative connotation. Then when we look at paragraph 4, it sparked clamor. So a spark, you associate a spark with something that is happening or coming to fruition perhaps. So while sparked may not be negative, it's somewhat neutral or maybe even positive if you spark something, a potential for something. But clamor, which is the noise that's annoying, that has a more negative connotation. And then of course the word misuse in paragraph 4. So now we can start thinking about the actual tone that the author has toward that use of the Super Bowl ad. We know that it's not going to be positive. It's going to be negative. It's probably not going to be humorous or funny at all because none of those words are funny. It might be sorrowful. It won't be neutral because we've already decided that the words carry a pretty negative connotation. So we're looking for something that relates to maybe like worry or sorrow or something that is negative. Let's see. I would assign a tone of accusing to the author because his attitude towards the misuse of Dr. King's voice in the context of a Super Bowl ad, he's suggesting somewhat explicitly that the person who used the actual audio recording was doing something wrong. So he has an accusing tone. If I were going more toward the sorrowful tone words, I might say that the author might be more concerned. Okay, so maybe he's leaning more toward the, this person tried something and failed, so he's concerned that the person didn't have the discernment to make better choices. So in the center is where I'm going to actually add the tone words, and I'm going to add one for a negative connotation and then one for a more sorrowful connotation or attitude towards the topic. So if you look at the categories I mentioned, you'll see that I noted the tone words underneath the specific categories. You can refer to the tone word list or the bank of words in order to help you to identify tone words should you want to do that. and that'll be available to you via your teacher or in Schoology. Now I'm going to utilize a quick write frame so that you see a completed explanation of why the author used one of the tones from here. That way you'll know how to craft your explanation when it's time for you to do your practice. Okay, let's take a look at the quick write frames that are completed. The part that you'll be working with will be the author uses, because, and you'll fill in the remaining information. So if I were writing about the accusing tone, I might say that the author uses an accusing tone because he believes the creator of the ad was in poor taste and he should have been respectful to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy. Okay, so taking what I know about how people feel about Dr. King and his words and the speeches he gave, I am able to take the evidence here and write an explanation of why the author used an accusing tone. If I wanted to write about the concerned tone, I might say the author uses a concerned tone because he feels Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s message should remain sacred. So he's concerned that people will start disrespecting important messages and important people's words. So, of course, for you, when it's time for you to practice with the remainder of the article, you only need to choose one tone word. I wanted to use two different tone words so that you knew there's not just one right answer. So as long as you can justify your identification of tone and you can explain it logically like I did here, you're going to be on the right track. Again, you'll want to make sure you look at the completed example. You want to make sure you read the article, and then you may want to use the bank of tone words provided. I know you are prepared to ace this assignment. Good luck.